Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Classic X-Men number 8, and you'll see here that it is cover dated April 1987. The cover of for the main reprint story is by Arthur Adams. You can see it signed there, 6th of November 86, so late November. It's a very, very nice cover. Difficult to do this, like a shot of a bunch of quite a few different characters fighting the old versus the new X-Men. This is Adams's version of the cover for Uncanny X-Men 100, and I think he does a really, really great job there, penciling and inking himself. He also does an inside cover illustration of the older X-Men from the Neil Adams era, and I think that's very well done too. And we have here the credits for the contents of this issue of Classic X-Men. Now, what I'm concerned with is the backup story, which is written by Chris Claremont, penciled and inked by John Bolton, and with letters by Tom Orzechowski and colors by Glynis Oliver. So let's get to that story. And remember, this is kind of in conjunction with issue 100 and Jean Grey's sacrifice aboard the space shuttle in order to save her fellow X-Men. And we also get a nice illustration there of the X-Men circa issue 100 by Dave Cockrum, signed 1977. It's pretty nice. But this is the story that I'm concerned with for this particular review video. So interesting layout for the opening there by Bolton, these tall vertical panels, and we have a first-person speaker with an interesting speech balloon design as well by Tom Orzechowski, and the voice says, "All that is, I am. I was born with the first fire and shall remain until the last celestial spark is extinguished. Nothing lives that is not touched by a part of me. The stars are my children, and nothing is more cherished than those which have in turn spawned life." So we see a fire effect there. The back cover gives us a clue as to who or what is speaking. It is the Phoenix Force, and that's a great rendering of the Phoenix Force by John Bolton with its Firebird aspect. It's difficult to do flames, believably, and I think that Bolton does a really good job of them here over that starry space background. Very clearly he's splattering white paint onto an ink background there, and it looks really, really good. And I like the little kind of whimsical detail of the fire effect around his signature too. So let's get back to the story itself, the backup story. Let's turn the page, and we are into the narrative of issue 100 again. High above the third orb called the Earth, a construct tumbles through the dark, while another smaller vehicle plunges recklessly towards its homeworld, fleeing the wild energies of a solar flare, surging invisibly outwards from the sun. There are noble souls within, and doomed as well, among them the reason for my presence. And Scott Summers calls out Jean, because of course, as far as the X-Men believe, she's sacrificing herself. Scott, no, if you open the life cell, you'll kill all of us, as she's piloting the shuttle down to Earth. And Scott protests. She's alone up there on the flight deck. "Let me go." To her Nightcrawler, he says, "Help her before it's too late." But Nightcrawler, the voice of reason, says, "It's already too late, my friend. She knows that. You must accept it." So Cyclops begs him, and Nightcrawler responds, "Cyclops, would you have her sacrifice be in vain?" So he begins to give in, but he says, "I don't want her to die." What I find kind of interesting about the top-down shot here when they're in the life cell of the shuttle is the body language of the different characters. Storm is wrapped in her cape there. We see that Banshee is about to get up, maybe to help hold Cyclops down, and Logan is just sitting back, arms crossed, totally relaxed and totally chilled out with the whole situation, and has got nothing to say. So I just find that interesting. And then we get a big page, full page image of Jean at the controls of the shuttle, and of course she's got a lot to think about, because she is in effect sacrificing her life to save the others. And so she thinks, 27 minutes to Earth's atmosphere, not long at all, just the rest of my life. Nothing like going out in a blaze of glory, so long as I don't take the X-Men with me. Keep it up with the jokes, girl, she says to herself, anything to keep from screaming. I'm telepathically monitoring the X-Men's condition. They're handling this pretty well, except for Scott. He's in such pain, it's like I'm tearing out his heart. But with the automatic pilot wrecked, the shuttle needs a human hand at the controls or will burn up during re-entry. My psychic powers make me the only one with even a marginal hope of flying this bucket and surviving. Fair trade-off, one life for many. Moment of truth. We're intercepting the leading edge of the solar flare and the radiation sensors are already at the tops of their scales. I'd have a better chance standing at ground zero of an H-bomb. I'm committed, all or nothing, throw of the dice, for the X-Men's sake, for Scott's, I have to win. So she's really determined here, and this really is Jean Grey characterized at the apex of her courage, sacrificing herself for the rest of the team. But who or what is this that has taken an interest in proceedings? The child's will far outstrips her strength. She knows this, and the beginnings of fear as well. So that's Claremont being realistic. You know, it isn't just Jean has decided to sacrifice herself for the team and feels no personal fear for the loss of her own life or what's going to happen to her with the radiation. I've never seen rad counts so high. For what it's worth, outside of this shielded compartment, any of the rest of us would be dead in seconds. Jean Grey's our only hope, X-Men. So I don't know who says that, maybe Banshee. And a slim one at best. It's a miracle she's lasted this long. So just stubborn, I guess, Dr. Corbeau. So maybe Corbeau was saying that, but the speech balloon tail is going off to the other side of the life cell. In any case, Jean there is listening in telepathically, but thanks for the vote of confidence. Some days it just doesn't pay to be able to read minds. This is bad. I counted on the telekinetic side of my powers to screen out the bulk of the radiation, but the pressure's too great. So then she starts praying, dear Lord, hear my prayer and help me. The flare, my psi shield's collapsing, it hurts, and then she calls out for Scott. So this is really kind of emotionally tense stuff. Claremont showing us what we didn't see in Uncanny X-Men 100. Jean dying here from radiation poisoning. Flesh withers under the savage onslaught, says the voice. Yeah, their spirit soars, higher, more fiercely defiant than ever. So quick, so brutal, can barely see. Ultraviolet occluding my eyes with cataracts. So this force is beginning to bond with Jean and with her thoughts, but we can see the corruption of her flesh from the radiation poisoning as well, and we're moving into a very strange, uncanny moment in the story. And the voice continues, and it's blending with Jean's thoughts. Bleeding inside and out, massive hemorrhaging as cellular bonds dissolve, losing my hair too, wish that was the worst of it. Lucky I'm weightless, heart would burst under the strain of gravity, my bones would crumble to powder. This isn't fair, it isn't right, not when I fought so hard. And then she becomes aware of a light behind her. An explosion, are we on fire? Don't be foolish, can't be anything I can see because I'm blind. What then? Hallucination? Pain? It's gone. And then she's in despair, no, I won't die. Or she's determined, I won't give up, not while so much depends on me. But look at the great drawings here by Bolton. This one is particularly affecting as she's pulling out her hair, and then as she unstraps herself from the pilot's seat, and then she floats in the weightlessness of space. And you can see her body is turning into a corpse as she dies. And now we're into this kind of mystical type sequence. Be not afraid. So that's an interesting choice of expression because it's biblical. It's from the Gospels. It's one of Jesus's sayings. And then the voice continues, no harm is meant. And Jean perceives the voice like music in my mind. Who, what are you? And the voice, as it begins to form a body, says the sum and substance of life and hope and dreams, All that is known to me. So this is a kind of aspect of God, like life force, or life force as God. I've known you, Jean Grey, says the voice, from the moment of your conception, as I've known the universe. You cried out for aid. I heard. I came. So that is interesting. Why does the Phoenix Force come in specifically to Jean Grey? Jean here, dying, says, this is crazy, I'm crazy. And the voice responds, no more than any finite being confronting the infinite. Your form, child, is so fragile. How can you possibly endure? And it's her indomitable will. So many of Chris Claremont's X-Men characters have an indomitable will, and Jean Grey is one of the ones who does, and one of the most indomitable. So she says, I must, to save the X-Men. So her voice and thoughts are blending with the Phoenix Force, and most especially Scott. So it's for love. That image cast from my soul. Oh, my love, she says, I've never seen you look so beautiful, the essence of my hopes and dreams. All that almost was will never be. My innermost secrets, yearnings, how could you possibly know? And here, this strange colloquy, this strange dialogue continues. My consciousness, says the Phoenix Force, as it begins to become human in form, my form and its ability to communicate on this plane of existence derive from you. That's interesting. They provide an awareness of your dominant emotions and memories. And Jean, floating in the cockpit, says, oh great, you mean you're a figment of my imagination? And the Phoenix Force responds, you jest, yet what is imagination save the ability to conceive of that which is beyond reality? You are human, Jean Grey. I am of creation. So Jean is baffled. What's happening? You're changing, assuming a tangible shape. You're becoming me. And the Phoenix Force says, a shell, nothing more, and only for the present. Your own physicality cannot easily be restored for its own protection. Your mind refuses to acknowledge the full extent of your injuries. Your existence is far closer to its transition than you realize. So transition is the term the Phoenix Force uses rather than death. Not dying then, already dead, hanging on barely by my force of will alone. What do you want of me? Asked Jean. You called, child of man, and I, mother of stars, answered. It is for you to name your heart's desire. So the Phoenix Force is a feminine force, and that is intriguing as well, of course, in the context of Claremont's celebration of female heroes. He creates this aspect of the divine that is specifically feminine, female. And so Jean responds here and says, and I'll just get my wish just like that. Why do I suspect that's too good to be true? All things have their price, says the Force. What's mine? Does that matter? Yes. I'm glad, says the Force. Take my hands, child, that we two may become one. Your humanity, my power, bonded by passion, tempered by love, the ultimate force at last given means to express itself. Be warned, the fire I offer can burn as well as warm, destroy as easily as heal, and it always consumes. The glory I offer is transcendent, likewise the danger, and the flame once taken can never be extinguished. That's intriguing too. It's a forever bargain. So Jean responds, the power, it's too much, beyond comprehension, suppose I can't handle. I'm not worthy, how can I accept? You know that answer already, else you would not have summoned me. And she replies, I'm afraid, with good reason. So the Phoenix Force is not making a deal with Jean Grey where anything is hidden from her. Everything is made plain to Jean regarding this combination of the two. Death is the certainty, says the Phoenix Force. The end to all burdens, all responsibilities. Life, the greatest of unknowns. Each day, every moment contains risk. Safety and perhaps peace can be found only in the grave. I may be salvation or damnation or both. Which now is your heart's desire? So this is almost like a Faustian moment, except of course the Phoenix Force is not lying to Jean Grey, is presenting everything up front to her is not a trickster figure, but it is a forever, eternal pact. If the choice was for me alone, she hesitates, to save the X-Men, I'd dance with the devil himself, and I want to live. So I really like the balancing there in Claremont's dialogue of Jean's concern for herself, her self-preservation instinct, the fact that she does love her life, she's not just throwing it away, but she wants to save her friends, and most particularly Scott, of course. That's a really great image there. This is a great page altogether, really, really well done. Great use of negative space by Bolton. Really great work on the muscular structure there of the side of Jean's face, where we can see the skull beneath the skin now, the withering skin, the hair that's just dangling off the back of her skull as well. Really great work. All things are possible, child, and the hand reaches out. And you may yet dance with the devil without, and the far more terrible within. So a foreshadowing of what happens in the future in respect of the Dark Phoenix saga. And now there's the full combination. Now this is a moment here that reminds a little bit of Michelangelo's Creation of Adam scene from the fresco on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, a little bit like that. But the reaching out is climaxes in a holding of hands, which is a supporting gesture. And then the cadaver falls back and floats in the zero gravity environment. And Jean, combined with the Phoenix Force, says, I'm alive, more so than ever before. This is fantastic. I can see the solar wind shunt its radiation streams aside with ease. Hear the star song, the language of the Milky Way itself. I feel the resonance of every living thing on Earth. And then she realizes that the corpse still has some life in it. Is this me? I didn't think there'd be a body. And it's still alive, only a spark, but so bright, some stubborn piece of my soul still fighting on its own terms, refusing the gift that was offered. Who knows, perhaps that's the right choice, or maybe it's a second chance in case things go wrong. So she creates this cocoon around the barely alive body of Jean that has gone into a fetal position. So it's like an egg. I don't know, there's so much, an egg matrix. I don't know, there's so much I don't know. Will I have time to learn? This is me as much as I am. In this new form, I can't abandon myself. I'll enfold the body in a cocoon that will sustain it while it heals. And when it does, what then? I don't know. I wonder, was this how God felt in his first moment, with all creation to play with and nobody to tell him how to do it? Forgive me, X-Men. I'm no longer the woman you knew. I'm fire, the soul and spirit of life incarnate, now and forever. We know what's going to happen. Turn the page. I'm Phoenix. So the origin of Phoenix that we did not see in issue 100 before her appearance in 101. And also we have Claremont here working into his personal continuity for the X-Men, that editorial mandate of Jim Shooter's, that Jean Grey be brought back in 1986 in order to reunite the original X-Men team as X-Factor, a new X title, which Claremont deeply annoyed him. And John Byrne came up with the idea that is being set up here, that the body of Jean Grey actually was put into a cocoon and was there at the bottom of Jamaica Bay for all the years until the Fantastic Four. I'm trying to remember from issue 286 of John Byrne's Fantastic Four, but I can't remember exactly how Jean emerged from the cocoon. But in any case, it happens in that particular issue. So here is Claremont incorporating that and also making it be something that Jean herself decided on and organized before her full transformation into Phoenix. So really, really excellent work here by Claremont. The dialogue is poetic. The situation is really, really intriguing. And also, it so happens that today the day of recording of this particular review. It's Easter Sunday 2025, and this is a story about death, rebirth, resurrection. Yeah, an intriguing coincidence, not exactly 100% planned, but my unconscious must have chosen this particular story for the day that's in it. And there you go. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on the backup story of Uncanny X-Men the backup story of Classic X-Men number 8. And yeah, what is the title of this story? Is it Phoenix? Let me just see in the inside cover there. Does it have a title story for the story? It seems not. So I guess we can give it the title Phoenix, or even I Am Phoenix. Well, let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments section. If you enjoyed my review and commentary, please like and share the video. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.